So I got this question about whether or not they would terminate parents' rights at the first hearing, and that was in relation to a video that I did about what a dependency and neglect hearing is. In the state of Tennessee, there is a type of petition called a dependency and neglect petition, and that is filed when there is an allegation of neglect as it relates to a child. And that is a separate thing than a termination of parental rights proceeding, which is a totally different type of petition and is filed with different criteria involved. So if you were in front of the judge on a dependency and neglect petition, this question about whether or not you're terminating the rights in that first hearing, the answer is no. That's not what happens in the first hearing. Basically what happens is you come to court, you were served with the petition either before court or at court or around that time. The court makes sure that there's been proper service of all parties. They make sure that there is a court-appointed attorney if that is necessary or required. And they look at setting the next hearing for either a review or to set the adjudication phase which is the next phase of the case. So at that first hearing, your rights are not terminated. In order to terminate your rights, it's a much longer process that has to happen. In the jurisdictions that I work in, if there is a dependency and neglect petition that is filed, typically what the court wants to see is that mom or dad or whoever this petition is filed against is going to be working services and willing to basically make change to make sure the child is safe or continue on in a way that makes it so that the parents have education or understand kind of what the issues are that led us to where we are. So in a dependency and neglect proceeding, if there is a finding that the children are dependent and neglected, then what the court is looking at is, okay, if there is this finding, then what are the parents going to do or what are the caregivers going to do in order to basically rectify that situation and make sure that they're doing the tasks that they need to do. So the court will typically like to give a lot of chances and basically opportunities for a parent or caregiver to make sure that they're making these positive change so that they can get their children back, because the ultimate goal of the juvenile court in Tennessee is reunification with families when it's appropriate and when it is safe. So they're trying to work towards having children be with their parents if that is a safe and appropriate place for the child to be. Now, at the end of a dependency and neglect petition, you can end up losing custody of your child. It is not a termination of your parental rights, but you can have custody vested in somebody else, either the caregiver or the state. And depending on kind of what happens with that, you need to be careful about the next stage, which could be termination of parental rights. In the state of Tennessee, the process to terminate someone's parental rights and sever the ties to allow the child to be available for adoption, that process is very long. There are a lot of steps that have to happen. There's a lot of procedure that has to happen because it is a constitutional right to have your child. So the state and whoever is proceeding with that and the judge will make sure that all of those things are done to make sure that the rights of the parent and the child are protected. So generally speaking, if you are looking at having your rights terminated, you're going to have a lot of notice, and it will not be at the first hearing of any type of petition that has been filed. Follow me for more information on family and child custody law in Tennessee.